All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for
Nana, episode 35.
All
Pain
right.
time.
Pain. Lots and lots of pain.
We've been on the pain train for a while now.
Choo choo, motherfuckers.
Yep, it's not slowing down. In fact, the brakes might have just broken off, like they
Right.
do not
Shattered.
function anymore. Yeah.
Yep.
So, fun times.
Yeah. Nana needs to have a little bit of time grappling with things. Because
Yeah.
Hachi's spinning out. And,
Among other things.
And Takami's spinning her on the top like this.
Yep.
But,
Yep.
yes, there are still other awesome people in the story
that can get hurt as well.
Well, that could get hurt, but also can help kind of, mingle in with things.
Yeah, we can use like a spaghetti strainer to try and bail out this ship, right?
Right. It's possible. With enough force.
You do it fast enough.
It can't travel through all the cracks in the
Yep.
thing. Yeah, y'all, without further ado, let's get into this.
100円ショップにまだ普通に売られていた。なのにスペアを買い足さず、大切にしていたハチの気持ちを思うと、
Fuck.
覚えのない左頬の傷がひどく痛んだ。
These intro bits before even getting into the OP, they always just...
Yeah.
105円になります。今日の夜は家に帰ってハチに謝ろう。ありがとうございました。
Okay.
多分割れたんだと思う。
Yeah.
思い出せないけど、そんな気がする。スクープされないように気をつけなきゃと思った矢先に、レンのところへ行った自分も謎だけど、目が覚めたのはヤスの部屋じゃなくてよかった。甘えちゃいけない。ヤスは私のものじゃないんだから。
Okay, that's good at least.
Speaking of which,
Reira, 悪いけど俺すぐ仕事戻らなきゃならねえんだ。
Okay.
鍵かけていくから誰か来ても出るなよ。
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
武田さんから連絡来ました。ホテルにも帰った形跡はないそうです。
荷物持って出てるんだろう。携帯に電話してみた。
何度かけても繋がらなくて。
しかしなんでいきなり逃げるんだ。さっきまでミリオン売るって張り切ってたじゃん。
どなたか他にレイラさんの行きそうなところ心当たりないですか。私配属されて間がないから。
Yeah.
こういうか。
Y'all know her pretty well, right?
不倫相手のところかな。そういやつ仲のいい友達いるの。知るかよ。
Completely ignored, yeah.
でも匠さん、レイラさんとは幼馴染なんですよね。
だから何？
Wow.
どうする匠。とりあえずレコーディング続けとく？周りがこんなドタバタ騒いでちゃ集中でき。
Sure. Yeah, throw you guys off.
まあね。
すいません。
Yeah, take the day off, yeah.
いいんだよマリちゃん。君の仕事はレイラの世話役なんだから、余計なことは気にせずレイラの心配だけしてあげてよ。
That look before he said that scared me.
出して引きずり戻せ。
Wow, he's not even keeping the act up for very long.
ああ、泣かないでマリちゃん。怖いよね、あの人。俺も怖いのよ。
Is he gonna suss it out?
仕事中に明け酒ですか。
水だよ。
そんなに仕事が大事なら、レコーディング前に歌姫を同様。
Yeah, yeah. We both know why she's upset.
レイラはお前に惚れてんだよ。
サクッと言うな。長年すっとぼけてきた俺の努力が水の泡だ。
お前が結婚なんかしたら、レイラは歌えなくなるんじゃねえか。
俺の結婚ごときで歌えなくなるようじゃ困るんだよ。俺はあいつに恋愛感情は持てねえんだ。
レイラが歌わなきゃトラネスは終わりだぞ。
そんなことは分かってるよ。だから俺にどうしろってんだ。
殿の寵愛を受ければ姫は歌うんじゃない？
俺にレイラとやれってのか。あいつは俺にとっちゃ妹同然なんだよ。そんなことできるか。
血繋がってねえじゃん。
そういう問題じゃね
え。でもお前は昔から自分の目的のためなら手段を選ばねえ男じゃねえか。
Right, which shows that you care about her, so maybe express the care.
レイラと政略結婚でもした方がよっぽど城はでかくなるぞ。
Oh, nice. He's trying to save Hachi.
I don't think he's thinking that big,
Yeah,
but yes, he could be killing two birds with one stone here.
sure.
強欲で人でなしなお前ならではの生き方を提案してやってるだけだ。
なんだよそれ。いい人ぶるな自分だけ。お前は自分の成功のために女も仲間も捨てて魂さえ売った男だろ。買ったのは俺だけど。
魂？
What?
お前は根っからのパンクスだったから。狭い小屋でやりたい放題めちゃくちゃやってた頃が一番かっこよかったよ。
So, you telling that your band is a sellout band?
正統派ヒーロー風味で。
Right, he has the adoration that you want.
おかしな話だよな。
Which part? We're not recording. Shut the fuck up. Yeah.
Definitely talking to Yasu.
Yep. Oh, fun.
So, are we going to get to see this conversation? Oh.
Yeah, fix it.
そう思うならお前が何とかしてやれよ。憎まれ役は俺の専売特許だ。
Wow. That was a fun, complex little encounter
Yeah.
there. Lots of fun little things to discuss later.
Went very quickly, but... All right, once again, who's at the door?
Yep.
Is it Yasu or Takumi?
Not who you want to see. Ah. Nice. Yeah, Takumi doesn't have the heart to have it be.
Right.
大丈夫です。連れ戻したりしませんから。レコーディングは延期になりました。
Yeah.
レイラさんが歌う気になれるまでしばらく休ませてやってくれって社長にまで自ら掛け合ってくださって、スケジュール調整はこれからしますけど、とりあえずレコーディングの入ってた1週間は確実に休めますよ。 よかったですね。匠さん厳しいこと言ってもちゃんとレイラさんのこと考えて。
Not enough to come himself.
No, I think he knew that would be actually scarier if he
Sure.
went.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's a bad thing that he didn't come.
Yeah.
仕事投げ出すようなボーカルはいらないんだよ。
No, take the week. Take the week.
Whoa. Damn.
Yeah, this is a whole mess.
Yeah, yeah. You support Red, right? What do you Yeah. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
ごちそうさま。約束通りてめえの泣き言を聞いてやるよ。
いいよもう。お前に話したら傷がえぐられそう。
Yeah. You haven't exactly been being open with him either.
知らねえのかよ。てめえあれから一体何やってたんだ。
お前こそ朝までどこに逃げ隠れしてたんだよ。ハチがこんな一大事の時に冷たすぎるよ。先に駆けつけて話聞いてやるべきだったんじゃない？何も話してくれなかったよ。
言ったんだ。
お前になら女同士だし、正直にいろいろ打ち明けたかもしれねえのに。
Maybe.
帰ったらハチか私の前でも何も一言も喋らなかったもん。全部匠に喋らせて。
But he did talk. Yeah.
Yeah.
結婚するって。
Oh.
Fuck. Saying the things that she's thinking and kind of.
相手ぞノブを。私の胸で。
何すんだよ。
今さら照れるな。私とあんたの仲じゃねえか。
つうか人見てる。
それがどうした。チビのくせにカッコつけんじゃねえ。
ちびちび言うなよ。少なくとも俺はてめえよりはでけえぞ。
知ってるよ。少なくともあんたは私よりも何十倍も心ができ。
Yeah. Oh.
私はあんたに出会うまで人間なんか
Oh.
あんたに出会って初めて世の中捨てたもんじゃねえと思ったんだ。
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Oh, we know.
Yeah, it's
Ah.
警戒心持たれるようなぬるいやり方したんだろ。どいつもこいつもバカ。
いい加減に諦めて別ショットで記事にしたら。
妥協はしねえ。
先に他に抜かれてもいいんすか。
トラネスは今日から1週間レコーディングで缶詰だ。で
oh.
も無駄。その間に本庄蓮と大崎奈々の愉快の地を全部抑えて。
Wow.
Damn.
Jeez.
そのメジャーデビューをガイアは渋ってるらしいが、こんな楽しい対バンは他にねえぞ。
Oh.
でかい祭りを起こして一気にトラネスと同じステージに上げてやるよ。
Okay.
感謝しろよ、大崎奈
I'm
々。
about to make you a star. Yep.
Yeah.
That's you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's that's interesting.
Yeah.
The different similarities and parallels between the photos.
Right.
Okay.
Oh, all right. So Nana didn't send back the glass. She bought it, but ended up deciding not to. She went to go spend some time with Nobu and basically kind of, they commiserated, but she kind of used him in the same way that he kind of needed her in that instance. But, it was more for her to get some emotional catharsis there. So
because at the end of the day, she has trouble dealing with her own feelings and recognizing them and acknowledging them. So she projects them onto other people and then goes to address those feelings that they must have. And in doing so, that's the way that she addresses her own needs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. But then also we got some really good scenes with Takumi.
Yeah.
It feels weird to say that given that he's just such a dirtbag, but there were some really interesting written scenes here.
Yes.
The idea that Yasu obviously is okay, I have empathy.
Right.
I'm going to be here for you to cry on, but I
can't be here forever. I have my own life.
Right.
I have boundaries.
Yeah. Thank you. Yes. Thank you for saying boundaries. I was basically going to say some other version of that. But yeah, that idea of him being hey, I can't be here for you in such a way that it's going to sacrifice that much of what I'm doing here. Right. I still have, bonds and, ties to other people that I need to, make good on. But I will let you be here.
Right.
But he ultimately calls Ren and is hey, I need you to pass along some info to Takumi.
Yeah.
I fucking love their scene at the picnic table.
Yep.
At the park.
It's great. Because, it
means so much.
It means so much because the thing is that, it feels like a parallel in some ways to the conversation, and this might seem odd as one to bring up, between Nana and Junko.
Okay.
When Junko basically pushed her towards Takumi, in that Takumi is being pushed by Yasu towards Layla, but he doesn't do it, right? And the thing is that I get the sense that Yasu is also aware of how badly it could go because Takumi is a really shitty person, right? Even though he does actually care about Layla. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, it's not... Her problems are not his to deal with, right? He separated himself from her, and so,
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago,
kid
right?
romance.
Yeah,
That
exactly, right?
It doesn't even probably factor into his mind as far as it being a lost thing. It's just the pain of this is someone that I used to care about, and I hate seeing them like this.
Right.
But hey, the things that she was saying about being worthless unless she sings, I need you to fix that
because I see your fingerprints on that, right?
No, I don't think he's saying that. I think he's saying basically that this is your responsibility. You are at the very least the closest one to her right now. I know that for a fact.
Sure.
So regardless of whose influence is putting that on her, if she's self-inflicting that or if it's a combination of that and other people's thing, I need you to fix it. And then Takumi says, you should fix it then if you feel that way. The idea that what he's basically saying is, hey, I need you to be the prince that will ascend the tower right here and help her out of the position that I kind of put her in.
Yep.
Which is interesting because in a lot of ways, Takumi taking all the credit for all the things and basically being I'm the one that has, I'm the only one that has the right to be hated here. I'm the one that did the horrible thing to her here. I feel like he's taking still even a little too much credit there.
Right.
He's not solely responsible for pretending to not like somebody or not notice that this person likes them. That's not his fault either.
Sure.
Layla's crush on him is not his responsibility.
Right. And there was definitely an element, and I think it with the tower and the princess and Saver and all that stuff.
Right.
It definitely was it's referencing that classic sort of prince saving the princess fairy tale thing that takes a lot of agency away from, the women in that situation.
Yeah.
And to what degree it's
takes away a lot of responsibility.
Yes. And to what degree it's a tongue-in-cheek thing versus something that's seriously being talked about,
Yeah.
Who's to say, right? There's room for interpretation there.
Yes.
But the the way in which Takumi is correct with a lot of the things that he says, right? It's the show has done a fantastic job of making us hate his guts. So seeing him be reasonable in certain instances is in some ways just as frustrating or another kind of frustrating
it is.
as the other stuff. You know, because we get to see him being
a human being.
Being a human being.
Yeah.
But then immediately, you know, because he was just like in the case of the assistant or whatever, he's just trying to manipulate her basically. He's he's kind to her. Then he's like, no, go do your fucking job basically. You know, right? I'm the only one who has that right to be hated. It's I know I'm a shitty person, but I'm going to do it anyway. Right? It's the that's not going to change things, and because of maybe my own like self-obsessed perspective on myself, I'm in fact going to say that I'm, you know, doing some necessary or important job or something like that.
Right, because he's the one that's making sure that the band is successful. He's the leader of the band. He has to be the one that gives the tough orders when it's hey, assistant, this is your job.
Right.
If you are not finding her, that means you weren't doing your job before this. At some point, she was able to get away from this whole situation here, and you weren't watching her. That's your responsibility. Now, obviously, Layla is her own person. She's going to do her own things here. But in this situation, he's right in that this is her job, so go find her. But the way in which he does things, is because he's a prick. He's an asshole. He makes it worse. But the idea that when it comes down to, the band, the actual like making of decisions and stuff, the person who's making sure that the band is successful and all that, he's the one captaining the ship. So he's the one that barks the orders at the sailors.
Yep.
You know, we're going starboard. We going, to port. You know, that's his call to make.
Yep.
And by trying to give Yasu the I actually would prefer if we hired a mercenary here and had someone come in and...
That's an objective third party.
Objective third party and came and shook things up because you guys do have a connection and she did go to you as opposed to anywhere else. Right. So, therefore, you could be the person to help me run this ship effectively for this weird interlude.
She asked for you to help, basically, right? Yes. You know, so let's leave it at that, right? But I love in sort of like in tandem with this scene, the scene before this with Ren, where Ren's like, hey, well, why don't you just sleep with her or something, right? Because she cares about you.
Give her a little bit of love,
Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah. And give her a little bit of love. And of course, Takumi takes that to mean sleeping with her, right? Which that could have been what Ren was talking about in the sense of, hey, you're a real shitbag and so if this is how you treat people, why aren't you just treating her this way too?
Right.
Because
if you use people specifically to get the utmost out of them, why are you not using her in the same way? And this is where we see Takumi being, what do you know, actually a human being. And he's like, I can't do that to her. She's my childhood friend. She's like a little sister to me. In some ways, I know that I'm a shitty person, so I won't take that shit and put it onto her. But I will absolutely manipulate her by keeping her at arm's length so that she thinks she has a chance, and then...
She'll make good music. I'll manipulate her in all of the other ways that are not that, right? Right. Because, hey, I'm able to acknowledge that that's kind of a shitty thing to do to somebody, right? And so because I actually care about her as opposed to not any of the other people maybe that he does this stuff with, he doesn't care about Hachi, right? It doesn't matter for him in that stance, right?
And that's where I think the situation gets kind of into a gray area and gets a little bit complicated, is that if someone has a crush on you, and you know they have a crush on you, and you end up basically not ever rejecting them, but it's hard to tell, and this is the part that I think is really tough, and that's where I don't want to take my bias with Takumi into this here. Sure. How much responsibility do you have to reject them for their own feelings and stuff?
Yeah, you don't.
You don't really.
Right.
But it can get into a weird area where people say the words leading on, and it's like, well, Ray, how much how much responsibility do we give to the leader versus the leadee in that case?
Well,
right?
it's because
they're all adults here. Like,
no, sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
But, so my take on it, and there's a few different angles for this,
there's
right?
a few, yeah.
Is that no, there's no responsibility.
Right.
As a courtesy thing, though,
yeah.
To the degree that you are able, right?
Yeah.
Maybe adjust for that and account for that in how you deal with them, right? If you know that your words are going to have, say, a bigger impact on them, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Maybe don't do those things that'll have a bigger impact on them.
But
if it's
right, okay.
no,
sorry.
yeah, you can't know, of course,
Yeah.
but like the. I mean, there are too many examples of things to think about. But
so many
things.
Yeah, that's why I think it's just so
But from the
complicated.
standpoint of the confirming something like that, it's a safeguard against your own either inability or lapses in judgment with regards to leading them on, so that way it's made crystal clear.
Right,
Because there could absolutely be those points where you're just like, oh, maybe in the case of someone like Takumi, he likes to get what he wants out of people, and so if he knows that there's a way that he can pull their strings, he will, right?
Right, but that's where it gets complicated, because it's not just that. It's that he knows that she gets joy from singing.
Yes.
Her joy from singing is there not just because of Takumi. That's what makes it so spicy and so complicated, but the actual like joy that she has with singing is absolutely there. It's because it taps into, we haven't even really gotten into enough of her to know the exact details of it, but we can very clearly see that it's something that comes about not just because she's trying to reach Takumi or something like that.
No, but it's from what we can gather from the way it was framed in this episode and from previous episodes where she was, like dealing with singing in the way that Takumi was described to be like the, his sort of chaste devotion to make sure that she would like be the best singer possible.
Right.
Is that her basically, I'm going to call it distress, but it doesn't have to be distress, but her emotions being in a not necessarily calm state. That means there's a lot more things for her to then draw from when it comes to singing, right?
Yes.
And so, you can have the moment at the end where she's just come out of a place of immense emotional distress and they're like, oh, this is going to sell way more than 1 million.
Yeah, you can tell it's real.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
right? And it's that sort of that real emotion that's being captured in a recording that then the fans latch onto and they're like, holy shit, that's awesome, right?
Oh, okay. So the way that we can take a real hard, definitive look at Takumi's responsibility and not necessarily anything more than like manipulation is that he is capturing the fairy's tears.
Right.
And he is turning them into gold, basically.
Yep.
There's an element of where there's a being here that has something magical, and that's Layla or Reira.
Yeah.
She has the ability to tap into this very beautiful element of love, actually.
Sure.
Like and put it into her vocal performance and everything.
Right.
And Takumi knows this. Mm-hmm. And it could have been even the thing that made them successful to begin with. We don't know that.
Yep.
But it's something that could be extrapolated. Then, after doing that, they realize, oh, we have to keep doing this.
Right.
So, if they don't know at some point in the past, they didn't know necessarily how she felt, or if he did know how she felt, he didn't know necessarily as much as he does now.
Sure.
And then he had the moment with Ren, which is why that scene is so important, that he's like, I've been trying to put it out of my mind. Well, thanks for, nothing here.
Or at least maintain the act that I don't know.
Yes, right.
And so now you acknowledging the elephant in the room.
Right.
Well, what's the point of me doing this now? Right? Like, great. Like,
yeah, so if that's the case, and it's that she wants to sing her utmost for him, and if he ultimately is rejecting her by choosing somebody else, she will no longer be able to sing, and thus Trap Nest is done.
Yep.
Yeah.
I feel like it does a really good job of capturing the, hey, like, I've seen plenty of stories where in the fiction they'll get at the idea of the character that's the diva, you know, where it's like, hey, they have this talent, they have this special thing, and so everybody has to kind of just make sure that they're happy, make sure that they still perform.
Yes.
And most of the time when I see it explored, it's done from the standpoint of the power that then the diva wields over everybody else, and so their whims need to be followed, kind of.
Okay.
Whereas in this situation, it's because this is something that you are truly producing, and it's not through something as cold and logical as, you know, like it's not dictated by that, then it's something where, you know, Takumi is effectively playing her like an instrument, right? So that then she can make this beautiful music, right?
Right.
And, you know, that, to that end, he will do lots of unpleasant things.
Right, but he won't actually...
But he won't go, you know, to the ultimate distance, right? Because at the end of the day, a part of it comes from also him caring about her and wanting her to sing as best as she can.
Well,
right?
yeah. So let's unpack this another way too. If he wants her to sing as best as she can,
Yeah.
and part of it is care, that is because she actually values singing.
Sure.
But he is treating her like the fragile princess. Therefore, he doesn't believe that she could actually handle the hard reality of things. So in the way that makes him look the best, is that he basically is treating her as if she's too fragile to handle the truth. Sure. Clearly, that's not going to work for the plot, because at some point she's just going to know. Like, you can't keep secrets forever in a drama story like this. They're going to come out.
Yep.
In fact, they already have, effectively.
Right. The fact that this conflict is happening is directly as a result of the fact that, to some extent, either she, and maybe a combination, she knows and or she desires to know, right?
I think she knows, and that's why we had that beach scene like a while back.
Yeah.
But I think it's also that...
Like, that's why she went to Shin, right?
Yeah.
Because it's the, hey, this is the way that I can get this emotional need met, basically. And I'll use you to that end. And then the irony is that then when she's like, okay, I'm going to basically cast you aside because I don't need you anymore. I don't want to rely on you anymore. Or something along those lines. She then goes to Yasu, and Yasu says no. Right.
Yeah.
And Takumi also says no. So that's a lonely place to be in. But I mean, hey, you gotta figure out these feelings, because while they might make for great music, that's not gonna make for a great life. Like that's yeah.
Yeah, that's putting it lightly. So that's just that situation. Then we also get everything with Hachi being able to have spoken to Nana about these things previously through Takumi. Then Nana finally talks about this to Nobu.
Yep.
Nobu finds out about what's going on.
And
rather than having a freak out moment, it's the shock of just like, oh shit, it's the worst. So yeah, I knew that she still liked him all along. I, hoped that, she would love me more, but apparently it's not. And he already had the worst painful thing of this a while ago with the thought that she was cheating on him.
Right.
So the idea that she's actually like now solidifying things with that there, this is actually probably a huge closure for Nobu, because she's like, oh, fuck. All right. Well,
them's the breaks,
Yeah, I'm cutting off the tie. That's it.
That was Nobu and Yasu both. I feel like Yasu being awesome, that's just Yasu being Yasu. But like Nobu, the way that he's handled this whole situation, I'm really impressed by. And I like that he was, because of course it's something that's going to shake him, right?
Yeah,
but,
I would have liked a text or two. I think that Nobu actually kind of jumped away from things a bit too quickly. I think that he should have at least tried to text her or two. Like, why aren't you talking to me? I think I at the very least owed it to know a little bit more from you specifically.
Kind of pushing the issue, like she wouldn't say anything when I went there to her.
Well, yeah, because that was just happened. Like, it was literally just happened.
Okay,
So
yeah,
I think if anything, like having some kind of, I don't put him at fault for for Hachi's lack of communication.
Yeah, like that's a very understandable point to be like, hey, I just need you to say literally anything. Literally anything. She can't do that, or she won't do that, or whatever. Okay, yeah, that's a pretty good sign that it's your time to go.
Yeah,
you know,
it's also the kind of thing of where I would personally, I don't want to just exchange roles and put myself into Hachi's shoes and stuff like that. But I feel like after a certain number of days of commiserating and processing and getting through this, you fucking text Nobu at the very least.
Well, and I feel like that folds back to the really shitty conversation with Junko.
Well, no. I don't. No, fuck Junko. It's just a thing of just being like, hey, sorry about all that. I'm, getting married to Takumi. I mean, maybe that's also like impossible from like an emotional standpoint.
The reason why I think it happened is because even when the emotions regulate, right? Even once those fade, because okay, yeah, she can't do it in the moment because of everything. Hey, sure, okay. Then with everything that she got told from Junko, that basically solidified things in like the other half of her brain. That's like the what's the plan if I have a plan, right? And so then after the emotions regulate, it's the no, I shouldn't contact Nobu. I shouldn't tell him anything like that. This is what the situation is. Oh, because they also talked about the whole idea of like, oh, I couldn't do that to Nobu of like, having him be the father of the child effectively, or anything like that.
Yeah, but what does that have to do with anything of what I'm saying?
In that it's this is what's best, basically, just to have contact be cut off, right? And then she can fully go into the fairy tale land of, oh, okay, and now I'm looking at, places for us to get that are gonna, be crazy expensive.
Yeah, I don't care about the like way in which it's like realistic for her to do this. I'm saying that from the standpoint of what I would have liked to see Nobu do.
Oh, sure.
I think he should have texted her. I think he should have at least once or twice. I think that the Hachi was the one that actually should have had maybe the responsibility to text him or initiate some kind of communication. But I would have liked to see Nobu at the very least like try a little bit. But that's again part of the thing of where he's being treated so badly in this situation here that I don't really blame him.
And this
much,
also isn't the first time. Because there was that this has happened before. She was absolutely using him before, right? And she felt really shitty about it afterwards because she realized what she was doing was shitty. And Nobu was aware of that, right? Like the time where it's he's walking her home and then it's like, okay, no, this is fine. Oh shit, they saw each other, right? Like this, regardless of whether or not these circumstances are different that compel Nana to do this particular time, the end result of what she is doing, with regards to Nobu, I wanted to say to Nobu, but just to make it fully clear that it isn't about Nobu, and that's why she's hurting him, right? It's that disregard. It's the same.
It's the same. Yeah.
So
do you think that people owe it to their partner that they broke up with, regardless of the context of the breakup, to give them closure?
I wouldn't say owe it because like what?
Well, no. But like owing then. Just should they do that? Like isn't that if it's back to that whole thing with the treating people differently if they have feelings for you from Takumi's standpoint, right? If you can, then do it, right? Like. Why wouldn't you, right? Well, right, but
there can be reasons why it's not a good idea.
I'm not talking about like closure in terms of the like. I'm not talking about closure in terms of the like we're broken up. It's done.
Sure.
I'm talking about like the emotional like healing after. Like the actual like closure in terms of the pain, the processing afterwards. Do you have any kind of like
to the degree that it's something that you're able to do if you can?
Okay,
and you care about the person, then do it.
But I think that's not the angle I'm looking at here. Is more the do you feel like
is there a should regarding it?
Yeah, like is it the right thing to do? Like not about whether you can do it, but like
no, I think should or the right thing to do or whatever that kind of doesn't come into play here.
Okay,
like at least when you're talking about general rules of thumb, right? Like if you're talking about in a specific instance, right, where it's like yeah, Nana should absolutely, text Nobu or, have said literally anything, right? Like that's entirely on her, even though I can understand where that's coming from.
So she did the wrong thing in
100%, but that's nothing new. That's not, yeah.
No.
This has been a string of Nana making...
No, totally. But I'm talking about this from the perspective of then the other characters as well. So like Nobu, for instance, like does he owe or does he should do anything for Hachi?
Nah, he did like he gave her the opportunity. He was very like upfront, about it. And she did like she could have done literally anything, and she chose to do literally nothing.
So this is where I think things can get a little bit complicated. It's basically what happened in this episode is that Layla or Reira came to Yasu and basically was like, "Hey, because you're my ex," basically.
Sure.
Basically. I mean, they have had no contact since since then.
Banking on the care that they once had for each other, right?
Please be there for me in this instance.
Yep.
And he was, in so much as that she blindsided him with just showing up all of a sudden.
To the extent that he was able.
Yeah.
He was.
But he actually didn't give her what she wanted.
No, because that was not something he was able to give her, right?
Well, he was, but he just wasn't going to. Like,
I mean, okay, sure, yeah.
But that's why I think there's something that can be gotten in here from the standpoint of relationships where people will basically use the previous connection, like what Nana did at the end of the episode, and that basically they'll take advantage of that previous connection and go,
totally,
hey, you have to be there for me in this instance here.
Well, right, and once you go into have to, then obviously you're in the weeds.
No. But it's people are never going to say it that way. They're gonna manipulate. They're gonna. That's basically what Nana did to Nobu.
Well, yes, in Nana's case, she is so unaware of her own feelings that. Yes, she's absolutely still manipulating him, but at the end of the day, it's still an ask, right? That's why I think maybe with the Reira or Layla Yasu situation, that's an easier one to like get at.
Well, yeah, because there was no communication to set it up. Yeah, it was just...
no, right, but it's a it's because of that, it's very straightforward, right? It's the I am emotionally distraught. Please be there for me, right? Of course, no verbal requests or anything like that, but
he let her inside. So
yeah, exactly.
He said
right?
Yes. Yeah.
Right. And then it's the that's the extent in which I can be there for you.
Right.
Yeah.
And I respect his basically putting up actual boundaries for this because I feel like that's the rare instance in this show of characters that actually have good boundaries.
Right. And that's where like in the case of Nobu with Nana, it's something where the boundaries weren't there because Nana isn't aware of what she was doing and and so even more so Nobu wasn't aware. And then, it's no, she's not saying this because she wants you to lean on her. Yes, that probably would make her feel better in some way. Yeah. But what she really wants is to be able to lean on you, right? Yeah. And so he does that for her, right?
Yeah.
It's just left at that. We don't continue it after, to see to what degree she will try and use him to lean on him. Yeah. And, if he'll have his Yasu moment of being like, and that's enough, right?
I just feel like there's this dirty place a lot of people take past connections with where they've either abused it, broken it, hurt it, or what have you, and will just kind of come in and go, oh, because we had a connection here, I need you to do this for me. And it feels really gross and selfish. It feels really gross to me. And I feel like Nana doesn't have the I have no idea what I'm doing thing here. She very much does know what she's doing.
She understands enough so that even if maybe she blocks out the memory of her breaking the glasses, she will be able to say to Nobu, your heart's a lot bigger than mine.
Right, because effectively what she's doing, I'm drawing a little bit too much of a reach here, bit too much, but I do think there's an important note to make here, is that what she's doing is similar to what Takumi does with Layla in music.
Absolutely.
She's getting what she needs out of somebody by manipulating the connection that they have.
Oh, yeah.
And yet putting invisible boundaries and such so that there's not going to be
and
there's not going to be any vulnerability from Nana in
yes,
this instance.
and on top of the invisible boundaries of just the degree to which she, allows herself to be vulnerable, because ultimately she doesn't want to do that, right? It's only when she's kind of forced to,
right?
But then on top of that, there's the boundaries of I am in a relationship with Ren. That is a concrete thing. Mm-hmm. I know that Nobu used to like me, and I'm kind of utilizing that here, right? Even making the comparisons of him, like comparing him to Ren in her mind, but because she has that security of being in this relationship that she herself is potentially jeopardizing on her own end, she doesn't have to worry about that from Nobu's standpoint, because he's not in a relationship with her, right? So, yeah.
It just gets really fun seeing all the flaws of these characters out on stage and prominent, because like we didn't just have that, we had her like having the whole memory loss thing, which feels way more serious than she's taking.
Oh yeah, and
then
I love
also the idea of like, I'm just so glad I didn't end up in Yasu's bed.
Right.
What?
Yeah.
What? What the fuck?
Yep. So, and I like that because she fully blocked the memory, she is weirdly able to be a bit more vulnerable about it. Like the fact that she doesn't remember,
Kinda, yeah.
Like if it was a thing where she's just pretending to not remember or trying to forget it, then she wouldn't talk about it, right?
Yeah.
But, as a result of that, Nobu's able to be like, no, you should go to a doctor, because if you have a gap in your memory, that's kind of a problem.
That's kind of a really big deal.
Yeah, like you can't ignore that. Of course, she continues to ignore it and, deviates the conversation and all that stuff, so she doesn't have to focus on it.
Yeah.
But
it's the classic thing where people go, oh, well, if I am aware of the problem, I don't need to actually fix it, because awareness is solving the problem, right?
Right. Knowing is half the battle, so it'll fix itself.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. And that's why I'm really proud of Nobu for the way in which he is handling this from the Hachi standpoint, but also, so far at the very least, with how he interacts with Nana.
Yeah.
Because I expect Yasu to have boundaries. I don't expect Nobu to have boundaries. And so I'm really glad that he seems to be, as a result of this, steel-toed kick in the dick, right?
Yeah.
That he's sustained here. That he is, at the very least, making sure that he is focusing on, himself, and making sure that he's okay and doing a good job of that given the circumstances.
Yeah.
But
all right, y'all. Thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get on early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out our Twitch channel. So yeah, if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all
next time.